Whether superstar or role player, every team needs that X factor to help them get that Larry O'Brien trophy. So today, we're going to be going through every single playoff team in the NBA. What or who is their X factor? Let's talk about it. Now, as always, drop a comment. I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. Where did I go right? Where did I go wrong? Or hey, what do you want to add on to your favorite team? Let me know down below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can, right? But let's kick it off here with the championship favorite, Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the presumptive MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The questions aren't around Shai, though. I think the questions around this team and their X factor is the offense around their MVP, because these teams in 7-game series are going to really hone in on Shai. How can we bother him? How can we, disrupt his offensive production, which is always elite? But how can we bother Shai so Shai averages 20 to 25 points instead of what he usually averages, right? And in those scenarios, in those longer playoff series, we need 1 to 2 games a series for J-Dub to have a great performance, for Chet, for Aaron Wiggins to come out and step up and spell the off nights, right? Off nights for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander offensively. If they can get 1 to 2 games a series where the rest of the supporting cast steps up, this is a team that can make the finals run because they have everything else to do so. But they need that help around Shai, because without it, I could see them being an early exit. Defense has been the staple in Houston this year, as they've held a lot of superstar guards to subpar performances. Shai, 22 points, which is an off night for Shai. Only 7 times this season he's went under that. Steph Curry was held to 4 points the other night. They've been a menace for backcourt mates all season long, and they need that going to the playoffs. So the X factor could just be maintaining this defense, but to me, it is their playoff experience. Outside of Van Fleet, who is an NBA champion, they don't have much on this roster. Their big three, as far as their young players, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, they haven't even played a single playoff game, let alone series. So for this team to be a top seed in a loaded Western Conference, I want to see how they can adapt to this new, scenery for these younger players. Now, a team that's been there, they've done that, and they've been on top of the mountain as recent as 2 years ago. The Denver Nuggets, their X factor is Michael Porter Jr., a guy that needs to be there offensively on a nightly basis. We saw it in their championship run. We know Jamal Murray, we know Jokic are going to do their thing, but they need that guy on the outside, that 6'10" sniper, to give them 18 to 25 a night. And if he can do that, shooting efficiently, this is a team that will make a deep run in the Western Conference because they have the best player on the planet, maybe the MVP, and they could make it to the NBA Finals, but they're not going to do it without MPJ giving them solid offensive production every single night. Now, this one's an easy one. It is the effort defensively from the Los Angeles Lakers. We know they have 77, who last year displayed he can carry a team to the finals with one good knees, or at a point, no good knees, right? Luka is such a special player where he can single-handedly win you the finals, but I think this year in a loaded Western Conference, it's going to be a battle, and you need defense from the start of it to the end of it. So we need the effort from Luka. We need the effort from LeBron, who I think needs to take a step back offensively and really just hone in defensively and be a menace on that side of the court. If they can get that, effort from their star players, this Lakers team has it all to not only make it out the Western Conference, but come out on top and give LeBron his 5th NBA ring. Jimmy Butler, the newfound addition, is the X factor for the Golden State Warriors. I think since he was brought in to Golden State, they're like, 19-3 or 20-2, something along that line. But Jimmy Butler's been fantastic defensively. The thing here with this X factor, though, I think it is his impact offensively, right? I think for the similar argument I had with Oklahoma City and teams going forward, you need that guy to spell your superstar. If your superstar has an off night, you need the guys around him to step up and to keep your team in the game and potentially win some games without your superstar having to be Superman on a nightly basis. That is Jimmy Butler, who's a pretty damn good playoff performer, by the way, right? 2 finals appearances on a team that didn't have another superstar. He can bring that to Golden State. So I just need Jimmy 1 to 2 games a series. Go out there, drop 25 to 30, give Steph some help because he is an old man. And that alone will keep this team in the mix in the Western Conference, and they might be able to shock the world and make it to the NBA Finals if Jimmy can turn back that switch to those Miami days. This one's cliche, and I really hate to say it because it's picking low-hanging fruit. But for the LA Clippers, it is Kawhi's health. If he can stay healthy, this team can be in the mix because their offense is terrible, but their defense has been great. But in the playoffs, we know Kawhi's a different beast. So if he could turn that switch up offensively and stay healthy, the Clippers could shock a team in the first round, maybe even further. But really, I just want Kawhi to be healthy for one playoff run, no matter how long it is. Memphis has kind of hit a rut here at this point in the season. They went as far as firing their head coach with just about 10 games left in the season. But for this team, it is their points depth, right? We know Ja and Jaren Jackson are consistently giving them 18 to 25 a night. But the stars around these guys are the question. We need Desmond Bane to have some of those magical performances. And then we need a collection of Santi Aldama, Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr., Zach Edey. We need these guys to occasionally have those magical, breakout performances in the playoffs. If these guys can all give them at least 10 to 12 a night, this Memphis Grizzlies team could be fun and could be an entertaining first or second round team. But if they can't get that third or fourth guy to step up to the plate in case one of their stars have an off night, it's going to be a short playoff stint for the Memphis Grizzlies. Just like the Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves need offense around their superstar. This is a team that is 17 and 12 this year when Ant doesn't have at least 25 points. They are super Ant reliant, and Ant this year has even adjusted his game to help elevate the offense. But when you look at Julius Randle, not a great playoff performer. Naz Reid did step up to the plate last year, and he might be their second go-to guy on this offense. Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Dante D, all have been okay playoff performers. We're going to need them to step up offensively in this postseason run for this team to mimic what they did last season. Moving over to the East, and it is going to start with my favorite team in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers, hometown team, and I hope we can go far, but we need Donovan Mitchell to realize this team's only going to hit its ceiling if he takes a step back. And that might be a hot take. That might be crazy. But as someone who's watched every single Cavaliers game, this is a guy in Donovan Mitchell that has a tendency that when we go down 2 to 3 points, he wants to be the guy to bring us back, right? I think in order for us to make this deep playoff run and to cap off this magical season, we need Donovan Mitchell to be a situational guy. And that sounds crazy, but we need him to be like, okay, we haven't scored in 2 or 3 possessions. Now it's my time to go, right? We need Donovan Mitchell to just be a situational, efficient superstar, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, and with that mindset from a Cavaliers fan, Darius Garland, he's going to have an uptick in work and usage here in the playoffs this year. And he's going to be our X factor. If this is a guy that can elevate his offensive game, give us 20 to 25, and let's say 8 to 10 assists a night, we're going to need that kind of a jump for us to really be serious contenders and make a deep run. Now, still the team to beat in the NBA, in my opinion. It's not the Thunder. It's not the Cavs. It's not even the Nuggets. It's the reigning Boston Celtics NBA champions, right? This is a team that I think the X factor is their mindset. Take this one series at a time. Don't get too ahead of yourselves. Don't focus so much on repeating as champions. Just focus on the task at hand. And this team seems to be pretty good at that. But sometimes maybe you're too focused on what could be compared to what's actually just happening right now, right? So focus on the present, focus one series at a time, and if they can do that fully healthy, there's nobody in the NBA that's going to beat them in a 7-game series. The New York Knicks is unlocking their defense, which has not really been the top 5 level group that I thought it would be all season long. They still have OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, 3 super uber talented defenders that are versatile at that, right? These are all 3 guys that can pretty much guard 4 positions on the court. And if you can get them to, I guess, elevate this defense now that they have Jalen Brunson back, Jalen Brunson and Cat can carry the offense, right? We know this. But on defense, we need them to really just shut down these 3 wings. Playing 40 minutes a night, I know is brutal. But if they can shut down the Giannis's of the world, the Tatums, the Browns of the world, this is a team that can make a deep run because they have the 2 offensive superstars, but they need these superstar role players, guys like Hart, Bridges, and Anunoby, to really just lock down the defense and be a top 5 defense in this playoff run. Again, if they can do that, they could be special. Over there in Indiana, they need playoff Hallie to return to what he did last season. In the playoffs last year, he had 6 20-point games and 4 25-point performances. Numbers don't look too different as far as last year, as far as his averages, but we know Pascal's dealing with some injuries. He's been getting some rest time as of late. The playoffs are right around the corner, though. This is when Tyrese Halliburton needs to be more aggressive offensively and give this team that extra boost, because last year when he did, well, again, they were able to make a deep run. So Tyrese, be a little bit aggressive, more so offensively. Detroit, this goes back to the Houston argument. Their defense is good, their offense is good, and they have a lot of young, intriguing talent, but they don't really have that playoff experience with their main pieces. Cade, 0 games. Asar Thompson, 0 games. Jalen Duren, 0 playoff games. This is really the first time this team has been successful and had a winning record with this core of players. Now, I do want to say Malik Beasley has some experience. Tobias Harris definitely has the most experience on this team, but those aren't your go-to guys. You don't have really that keen playoff experience in a tough, grueling series with your younger players. So I want to see how they adapt to that in the playoffs, but definitely if they match up with Indiana, if they match up with a Dame-less Milwaukee team in the first round, I like their chances to come out. Speaking of Milwaukee, their X factor with no Damian Lillard is Bobby Portis. Now, right now he's currently out, but I do think he's going to return before the playoffs with that recent suspension that he had. But again, this year only averaging about 14 and 8 a game off the bench. He's a very good bench player, right? Sometimes can slide in the starting lineup. And I think he's going to have to, because this is a team that's going to need those crazy Bobby Portis games where he gives them 18 and 10 in the first half, right? Because Bobby Portis isn't a consistent player, but when he hits those spurts, Bobby Portis looks like a bona fide all-star fringe player. So this is a team that if they're going to want to make a deep run without Damian Lillard, which is unfortunate, Bobby Portis is going to have to be that Chris Middleton-esque player for this team to make a deep run. It's not really likely, but you guys get the picture here. I'm working with what I have. For the Magic, it is their offense, and really specifically scoring over 100 points a game, almost every single game here in this upcoming playoffs, because in the NBA this season, they have the second worst offense, but overall, they do have the best defense. So it is really two sides of the court for the Orlando Magic. They don't have Jalen Suggs, who occasionally last year had some good playoff offensive scoring bursts, and Mo Wagner is not there either. So this is a team that is, yes, they're going to be very reliant on Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. But outside of that, man, I don't know who's really going to be able to step up to the plate. Maybe it's KCP, who has championship experience. Maybe, right? But outside of that, I can't see this team making a deep run without consistently having great offensive performances. There we go. Outside of the star players, because we know Paolo and Franz are good for 90 points in a game, and right, they can at least contribute that, whether assisting or scoring, but they need the other guys around them to do their job, and that just hasn't been there all season. And to close out the Eastern Conference, 0-0 Onyeka Okongwu, someone I wanted my Cavaliers to draft years ago, is the X factor for the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, no Jalen Johnson, which is unfortunate for this crew, because I think they might have been able to be a shocking first-round team. But 13 points, 9 rebounds, 1.8 stocks on the year for 0-0. Look, I think this is a guy that when he is offensively aggressive, this is a team that wins games. So we need this guy offensively to give this team 15 points or so a night. If he can do that with great defense, this might be a team in the first round against, let's say Boston, or if they can sneak up to the 6th seed and face a New York Knicks. Who knows? Things could get interesting. But that is every team's X factor going into this playoff run. Let me know who I forgot. Let me know where I went right, where I went wrong. Of course, your thoughts down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can.